Steel and Valor. Prologue, a small town clash. The town of Ironwood, nestled in the shadow of the Appalachian Mountains, was a quiet, blue-collar town in the heart of America. It was the kind of place where everyone knew everyone, and the local diner served as the unofficial town hall. But beneath the surface of its peaceful facade, there was tension and unspoken rivalry between two groups who had claimed the town as their own in different ways. The Iron Reapers, a notorious biker gang, and a group of veterans from the local army base, Fort Granite. The Iron Reapers were a rough, leather-clad crew known for their roadhouse brawls and a reputation that stretched far beyond the county line. They owned the roads, the bars, and sometimes even the law. On the other hand, the soldiers from Fort Granite were disciplined, proud, and fiercely loyal to one another. When these two worlds collided, it was like flint striking steel. Sparks were inevitable. Chapter 1. The Encounter. It started at the Rusted Gear, the town's most popular bar. Friday nights were usually a melting pot of locals, bikers, and off-duty soldiers. Everyone knew the unspoken rule: keep your space and avoid eye contact if you weren't looking for trouble. But that night, trouble didn't just find them. It walked right through the front door. Staff Sergeant Jake Bear Grayson, a towering figure with a grizzled beard and piercing blue eyes, entered the bar with a few of his men. They were fresh off a grueling training exercise and looking to unwind. The soldiers were clad in casual clothes, but their military demeanor was unmistakable. As they ordered beers and took a corner booth, the Iron Reapers, led by their president, Axel "Crusher" Kane, were already watching. Crusher, a burly man with tattoos snaking up his arms and a permanent scowl, didn't like the soldiers. He saw them as a challenge to his authority, a reminder that the Reapers weren't the only ones who could command respect in Ironwood. And that night, he decided to make a statement. "Hey, soldier boy," Crusher called out, his voice cutting through the chatter like a blade. "Why don't you and your boys head back to base?" This here's Reaper Territory Bear didn't flinch. He turned slowly, his calm eyes locking onto Crusher's. "Just here for a drink, friend." No need to make this a thing, but Crusher wasn't interested in peace. "You think you're better than us? Wearing that uniform, acting like you own the place." The bar grew silent. Everyone could feel the tension rising. Bear's men shifted in their seats, ready for whatever came next. But it was Bear who broke the silence. "I don't want trouble," he said, his voice steady. "But if you're looking for it, you'll find it." Chapter 2. The Parking Lot Standoff. The confrontation didn't escalate inside the bar, but it was clear that it wasn't over. As Bear and his men left the Rusted Gear, the Reapers followed. The parking lot, dimly lit by flickering neon signs, became the stage for the next act. The soldiers stood by their trucks, outnumbered but unfazed. The Reapers, nearly 20 strong, formed a semicircle, their motorcycles rumbling like thunder in the background. Crusher stepped forward, his fists clenched. "You don't belong here. This is our town." Bear took a step closer, towering over Crusher. "It's everyone's town. But if you want to prove something, we can settle this right now." Crusher smirked. "All right, soldier boy. Let's see what you've got." Chapter 3. Chaos ensues. What started as a one-on-one brawl quickly spiraled out of control. Crusher swung first, but Bear ducked and delivered a bone-crunching punch to his ribs. The other Reapers hesitated for a moment before rushing in, and that's when the soldiers sprang into action. The parking lot erupted into chaos. Fists flew, boots stomped, and the sound of bodies hitting asphalt echoed through the night. The soldiers, though outnumbered, fought with the precision and discipline forged by years of training. They worked together, covering each other's backs and dismantling the Reapers with calculated efficiency. Bear was a force of nature, taking down anyone who came at him, while his men held their ground. Even the bikers, who were used to street fights, were caught off guard by the soldiers' sheer skill and determination. The tide turned quickly. One by one, the reapers fell, groaning and clutching their wounds. Crusher, battered and bloodied, tried to rally his men, but it was no use. The soldiers were unstoppable. Chapter 4. The aftermath as the dust settled. The parking lot was a mess of overturned motorcycles and groaning bikers. The soldiers, bruised but victorious, stood tall. Bear walked over to Crusher, who was slumped against a wall. Gasping for breath, "We didn't come here looking for trouble," Bear said, his voice low and firm. "But if you ever try this again, you'll regret it." Crusher spat on the ground, glaring up at Bear. "This ain't over." Bear leaned in close, his eyes like ice. "It is for tonight." Go home, the soldiers piled into their trucks and drove off, leaving the reapers to lick their wounds. The town of Ironwood would never forget that night, the night when bikers tried to intimidate soldiers, and chaos ensued. Epilogue: Respect earned. In the weeks that followed, something unexpected happened. The reapers, though humiliated, began to respect the soldiers. They saw in them a kind of strength and loyalty that mirrored their own, albeit in a different way. And while the rivalry didn't disappear overnight, an unspoken truce formed between the two groups. Ironwood remained a town of contrasts, but on that fateful night, it became clear, in a battle between steel and valor, valor always prevails.